It's always talked about how the start of an F1 race is usually the most critical moment of the race. That's when we see the incidents happen, when we see track position. Every inch matters because you need that track position for late in the race, or really just the rest of the race. And ultimately, it might have cost Lando Norris a win today. Lando Norris got his second career pole yesterday in Formula One for today's Spanish Grand Prix. And with that pole, if you can get that lead, run away, or, at least hold track position, you got a great shot at winning in F1. That is already known. Well, turn one went about the second worst possibility possible. The worst possibility, of course, of getting wrecked. And Lando Norris went from first to third. Max Verstappen got a better jump, and he was able to be side by side with Norris heading into turn one. Then out of nowhere, George Russell pops to the outside, and George Russell went 3 wide and took the lead. Very impressive from Russell. I genuinely did not see that coming. I thought Verstappen was going to beat him into turn one, and I was like, well, it's fun while it lasted. And here was the difference in the race, is that Verstappen was able to get by Russell in about 2-3 laps, and he was able to run away a little bit. Norris couldn't get by Russell. He was stuck behind him the entire first run. And in that entire first run, Verstappen was able to put 7 or 8 seconds between himself and the George Russell-Lando Norris pairing. And because of that, McLaren, Lando Norris, had to go with a little bit of an alternate strategy. Everyone did at least 2 stops in this race. And because of that, Max Verstappen, he was able to carry on with his normal strategy. When everyone else started pitting, he went and pitted because he had such a big gap. But Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, and maybe one other guy that I'm forgetting, they ran an alternate strategy. They still did a 2-stop race, but they ran an extra few laps to try to get the most they could out of the tires, and also to have a tire advantage on the following run. So they stayed out 6 or 7 laps longer, and with how much this track eats up tires, that makes a big difference. So Lando Norris leads for a few laps. He loses a lot of time, but he pits. He gets that time back, or he at least makes up some of it when he's charging back through the field. He's able to get back to second. He had to pass Sainz. He had to pass both Mercedes cars, and he was able to get back to second for a little bit. He closed the gap under 5 seconds before Max Verstappen ended up pitting. Everyone else ends up pitting. And then Lando Norris, instead of doing what they did the first run and, stay out 6 or 7 laps longer, they only stay out 3 laps longer, because if they stayed out more than that, they would have had to pass all those cars again. Sainz, Russell, Hamilton. So ultimately they decided to pit a couple laps earlier than they did on the last run so they could come out and stay in second place. They came out in second place about 8 or 9 seconds back. And at first, 18, 19 laps to go, they were chopping into that lead down to 7 seconds, down to 6 seconds. And it's like 15 to go. And it's like, okay, we might have a little bit of a race on our hands. And then Red Bull told Max, hey, man, pick up the pace. They're actually trying back there. And he said, oh, okay, cool. It stalled out at about 5 seconds for a couple laps, and that was enough to kind of do it in. Lando Norris ended up finishing 2.2 behind, but those last 3 laps or so, Verstappen was kind of just in cruise control, it seemed like. So Max Verstappen ended up winning the race. Crofty was very proud of this stat. He said it like 20 times in the post-race, like in a 10-minute span. Max Verstappen won the 1,111th race in Formula One in the number 1 car. It's a lot of ones for those who are curious. I guess Perez would have been a little bit more appropriate. That would have been one more one. But anyways, Max Verstappen wins yet again. He's won a lot of races in the past few years, in case you were wondering. He wins a lot, but he extends his championship lead. Lando Norris finishes second, gets the fastest lap, and he won Driver of the Day. I don't really know how, but I guess it is a fan vote. But anyways, Lando Norris finishes second. Once again, that start, I think he's going to look back at, even if he just comes out of that in second place behind George Russell, or if he can come out, just behind Max Verstappen, or if he could have got by Russell in that first stint, he could have had an actual shot at the win today. But ultimately, he doesn't. I know he closed the gap there at the end, but he never had a real shot at it. Verstappen was just too good that last stint, so Lando Norris finishes second, moves up to second in the driver's standings. It's the highest he's ever been in the driver's standings, so there's a little bit of a consolation there. And it once again is second place, but Lando Norris cannot convert the pole, finishes second. Third place, Lewis Hamilton, his first podium since Mexico last year. That's got to be like the longest podium drought of his career. I don't know if that's statistically accurate, but it feels like it. It's his 198th podium in his career, his first of 2024. Overall, a great race from him. Obviously, Russell got the great start, was up in the lead at some point, so Hamilton had to chase him down in a sense throughout the race. Was able to get by and was able to get his first podium of the season. George Russell finishes fourth. He got the lead a couple laps there. That was fun for him. Once again, great move on that opening lap. A great points day for Mercedes. Fifth place, Charles Leclerc, a good day for him. Like Lando Norris on that alternate strategy in a sense, just staying out a little bit longer. Had a shot at Russell there at the last lap, but just ultimately fell short. Sixth place, Carlos Sainz in his home race, a good double points day for Ferrari. Seventh place, Oscar Piastri, double points for McLaren. Eighth place, Sergio Perez, double points for Red Bull. Max Verstappen very much carrying, as Perez has another struggle of a weekend. Ninth, Pierre Gasly. 10th, Esteban Ocon. Remember when this team was like terrible and we thought they weren't going to score a point, or maybe that was just me, but double points for Alpine. How about that? They've scored points a little bit more consistently than I thought this year. 11th place, Nico Hulkenberg. 12th place, Fernando Alonso. 13th, Zhou Guanyu. 14th, Lance Stroll. 15th, Daniel Ricciardo. 16th, Valtteri Bottas. 17th, Kevin Magnussen. Alex Albon. 18th. 19th, Yuki Tsunoda. 20th, Logan Sargent. The second straight year that the Spanish Grand Prix, 0 DNFs, 0 cautions. So they've got that going for them. That's fun in a sense. But yes, Spain is always a strategy game, and ultimately the strategy was altered at the beginning for Lando Norris and McLaren. As I said, no real incidents in this race. Alex Albon went off once, but it wasn't even enough to get a yellow flag. So the only penalties that happened in this race, I think Nico Hulkenberg got a speeding penalty on pit road, and Magnussen got a false start penalty. Other than that, no incident penalties. The Ferraris touched a little bit, but it wasn't even enough to do damage. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. We got a NASCAR Cup Series race coming up. Should be a fun one if it happens today. It might rain at New Hampshire. It might not. I really don't know. But thanks again for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one. It's been a while since I've done an F1 video, it feels like, so it feels good to do another one.